Hello. Let's start with adding some media queries to this. So if I smush this down, it's not looking great. So I actually want to do mobile first. So I'm going to actually do a couple funky things here. I always forget the order of things. Where'd it go? So I looked up MDN, so Mozilla Developer Network media queries, so that I can just jump right in and copy stuff. So here's the app media page, and I want to point out, don't ever use where is it? There's like a min and max. Come on, where is it? Media print, media screen. This one, media only screen and min and max. Don't give it this window, just let it inherit stuff. So I like to do, we'll just grab this media only screen. And so this means it's a screen. It's not like a other kind of device. It's just sort of like the default media query. You always want the media query at the very bottom of your screen. And I'm going to add the curly brackets. So if it is 320 pixels or more, do something. So 320 is really tiny. I'm going to change that to 768. So this is actually for desktop, not for mobile, which means there's things in here that I want to move down here. So this is for desktop only. So for 2 columns, I do want to use display flex, but I don't want this width of 60%. That's too big. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to just change the things I need to change. So margin auto can stay default. Display flex can stay default. On desktop, so on this guy, I want 60%. But up here, I want it to be wider. So I'm going to change this to 90%. So there's still a little bit of margin, but it's, less. So now let's look at that. Let's go back to the page. So if I shrink this down, you can see the assignment and projects kind of pops wider. And then we're going to change, I don't want these to have 2 columns on desktop. So I could do 2 things. I could take out display flex and just add it back in here, or I could change the flex direction. So instead of the default of columns, I'm going to do flex direction row for mobile. Did I do that right? I always do it backwards. Column. The direction is columns, 1 column on top of each other. That's what I wanted. Okay, flex direction column. And then when we get to desktop down here, I want it to switch back to row. So now I've got just the single column. I open it up, and now I have 2. Cool. So a little bit of media queries. I wanted to do desktop first, just to kind of give you some more practice. So now I'm back in the Git repository. This is for files, this like file icon. This is Git. This is for searching your files. This is debugging. We probably won't look into this. And this is extension. So I can kind of jump back between these 2. Let's just do GitHub desktop just for fun, just to go back and forth. So if I go back to changes, I can say added media query for, I actually added it for desktop, not mobile. Commit, and then push. One thing we haven't looked at for a while is we're looking at our local machine, but we're not looking at our server on the internet. So if I change this URL to alanarese.github.goithub.io, I should be here. And then there's my Vancouver JPOP. There's my bunnies, and let's check my media query. If it doesn't, see how it's not refreshing the CSS, it's because it's a file is being linked to from the HTML file, so it doesn't necessarily refresh. Stick this in your brain. Command-Shift-R or Control-Shift-R if you're on a PC is your best friend. So if I hit refresh, Command-Shift-R for refresh, it's a hard refresh, which means it refreshes not just the HTML page, but the pages attached. And then I get that the single column on mobile. And sometimes it just takes GitHub pages a couple minutes. So that's the other thing. It's like sometimes it just takes a little bit. Cool. What else? Let me think about it for a second. Let's add a background image. So I am going to download this one. I think, yeah, I'm going to do SVG because that will be the smallest file. Looks like it's pretty tiny. And then let's add it to the folder. So I'm going to go back to my files and let's make an images folder just to keep things tidy. We're not going to worry about Vancouver J-pop right now or whatever your new project is going to be called. Oops, see how I'm inside it right now? I'm just going to click out of it and click on the name of my folder, then click on index. Now I'm in this, click on the folder name. Now I'm at the same level as my home page index. And I can just drag files over. Please disregard my very messy downloads folder. I'm going to throw it in images. And I'm just going to make sure, yep, it is in there. And let's go to index. Let's see. Not you. Close this index. There's like a 4-pixel border around main. I'm trying to decide. I think I do want it on the whole body. So let's go to style, go back up to the top, and I'm going to say background dash image. Boop. And I'm going to say URL parentheses. There can be no space between those two things. And then I'm going to say images / I was hoping it would find it. Oh, image. I did that wrong. So it will automatically find the file for you. So image, I don't know why I called it image. I kind of want to change it right now. Let's change it. Right click, rename, images. Okay, I feel better now. Images / and then there's our file. And then we want it to be background size of cover. So fill it out and background repeat, no repeat, no repeat. Let's see how that looks so far. Probably is gonna cut off the bottom. Oh, see, this is github.com. We don't want that one. We want the server. So I'm just going to close this so I don't get confused. And I'm going to go back to GitHub or to Visual Studio Code. So I've just been jumping back and forth. I don't need to close that tab every time. But now I have this situation where the port is still open, but the tab is not open. So I need to kind of relaunch it. So I'm going to just close this port to close it. So I just click on it and that closes it. I want to make sure I'm in the index page, not the CSS page, because this is the page I want to go live. And then I'm going to click go live again, and then it will open my screen. And let's see. On mobile, I want this to stick to the bottom, and I want the whole background color to be this. I have a color picker that makes my life a little easier. It's called Colorzilla. This is on Chrome. Everyone has, all the browsers have extensions to do color picker. So I'm going to use my color picker. I'm going to say pick from page. I'm just going to click. It's copied to my clipboard. And then I'm going to paste it in as the body background color. So right above the image, I'm going to say background color, and then paste in that thing. And then now we can do position. Background position. And then I guess we only want Y. And we're going to say bottom. Now, is it going to know where the bottom is? I'm not sure. Let's check it out. Well, that's weird. That's not at all what I want. So we want the body viewport height. So I'm going to say, give it a height of, I'm trying to think if I want minimum. Maybe like a max height of 100% of the viewport height. So max height 100 VH. Oh, this is such a bad idea because this is the body, not the other stuff. So that's a problem. And then we have header and we have main. I'd probably want to just have a wrapper, honestly. I'm going to have a wrapper class. This is kind of cheating, but the max height of the wrapper should be 100 viewport height. Is that right? Minimum height? Minimum height. Then it can grow. I'm having trouble today. So I got to wrap everything now because I'm doing this because if I look at the body, here's the body, then I have a header box, and then I have a main box. I want the background to be on everything, but if I give this, if the header has 100% viewport height, then all this stuff gets pushed down. If I do it on this, then it's going to be more than 100%, and I don't, like, with this plus this, and I don't want to do the math. So I'm just going to wrap all this stuff in a div. So I'm going to call it div, and then here's an emit trick. You can say dot wrapper, which is the name of the class that I'm using, and then tab, and now I have a div with a class of wrapper. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to put it right above the closing body because it's starting right after the opening body tag. I'm going to put it here, and then the wrapper I've already said is a minimum height, so let's see if that works. If it does, I'll probably move the background image to the wrapper. Yeah, that looks good. The text looks hard to read on the orange and blue, but we won't worry about that. So just to be tidy, I want this stuff to be together. So I'm going to grab everything but the background color. That can stay in body. And I'm going to put this in the wrapper. And it should look exactly the same. Yep. Now I just have to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with... It's kind of cool how the sun goes up. Oh, see how there's like a margin? Let's look at that. I think that was the 4 pixel margin I gave everything. So here's my body. Body. Open that up. So body has, see that? It has a margin and a padding on it. It's got orange. I guess it just has margin. Yeah, so if I say body margin 0, let's do that. Body margin 0. Then that should get rid of that weird margin. Yep. Nope, it doesn't. Oh, it's the H1. The H1 is doing it. See if I inspect the H1. It has that orange that's pushing it down, even though it's like below the... Yeah, so we can change for the H1. I'll just put it down here. I don't know. I'll put it here. H1, let's say margin, just the top, should be 0. And that will fix that problem. And then I want it actually to be... there's still a weird line. Where's that coming from? Boop, 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 boop. That's not the H1. The header has a margin. Oh, I put that in there. Right, it's still in there. Header, margin 4. We'll just get rid of that. And then I do want space for that H1 because it's so smushed. So I'm going to say, instead of margin, if I use padding top, that will actually fix it. And let's give it a decent amount, 60 pixels. Cool. And then now I'm annoyed that it's so weirdly over there. So, oh, for the header, actually, let's see, that has 90. Let's give the header also, oops, hang on, header only, not the other things, width of 90 in the margin of auto. And then when the header is in desktop, make it a width of 60. So it's kind of mimicking what's happening with main. So now if I shrink it down, it shrinks down, it like pops to the left, and if I expand it, it centers it. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. All right, thank you.